We move on now to a segment that Eric usually is not as involved in. It's the D-pad. It's funny, Read a Book and D-pad this week on the Omnibus are both are two of the bigger segments for us this week, that we have a lot of things to talk about and that you're involved in when usually you're not, so it's kind of cool. This time, and part of why we didn't have a big Crisis this week, because this I would have loved to have put on Crisis just because of the principle of the thing.
Yeah, because this ate up a lot of both of our time.
Well, that, and it felt like watching a TV show in such a wonderful way. This is Batman the Telltale series. I want to thank my friend Malik Myers for sending this to me. Malik gave me this for my birthday, which was super cool of him. He's a longtime viewer of ours, and I become friends with him. So thanks a lot, Malik. You're awesome. Really appreciate it. Maybe I should mention this. He says, and like, he doesn't have to do this, I kind of wish he wouldn't, but he says he's going to send me a Christmas present. I'm wondering if I'm getting the sequel to this.
Yeah, you should hold off, because we've been talking about buying the second one.
I am going to hold off, because there's potential that I'll get that for Christmas. But anyway, so we've been waiting on this for a few reasons. Here's the thing. The main reason I was really trepidatious about this is because the couple of Telltale things I've attempted before, I say the couple, I think maybe the only thing I've tried is the Back to the Future one, I got stuck in and didn't like the gameplay of, and it was too puzzly, and I didn't understand what in the world I was supposed to do, and I felt like it was a right brain, left brain thing. I just wasn't good at it. This is not that. You can't get stuck in this.
No.
Or at least we didn't.
No.
I guess the linking thing, it's possible. There's a place or two where it might take you a while, but
I always did the link.
I did it once, and I did not get stuck, and it did not take me very long. What do we want to say about this to set it up? It's a really, story-wise, let's start by saying, it's a really intriguing reimagining of Batman that is kind of, as I said earlier on the Omnibus and Comic Vault, a reimagining of The Long Halloween in a lot of ways. It uses a lot of those trappings.
It's a video game for people who don't play video games. It's a comic book for people that don't read comic books.
It's a TV show for people who are bored and wish their TV shows were interactive.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's got a lot of really surprising twists and turns that mostly make sense for the story. There's questions. I've got questions about the ending and stuff.
The last episode's probably the weakest of them.
Yeah, and on a second playthrough, I'm sure there's some logical fallacies I'll pick up on that I didn't the first time. But gameplay-wise, it's so much fun, and I would not have expected this to be so much fun, or potentially replayable. I want to play it again. There are, and we'll talk about this, there are so many, because the story unfolds, there are obviously big sweeping beats that are going to happen regardless of what you do, but a lot of the story and the nuances are dependent upon the choices you make and what you have characters say to each other. It's very conversation driven, and I love that so much of what it's about is you said the wrong thing, or you said the right thing. I think that's really cool. There are so many different ways I'd like to go back and play this through, but let me make or mention your big point, which is it's fun to play together.
Yeah. It's a fun party game to like kind of real quick discuss like, well, what should we say? What should we say? I really want to play through and do the Crazy Batman.
Eric and I played one episode, and we said, "Oh boy, can we do another one?" I wish we had time to sit down and do another one. But yeah, this is part of the reason we didn't do Punisher this week, because on Crisis, because it took us 12 or 13 hours to get through this. So each episode's about 2 hours, I think. Yeah,
5 of them, so that's like 10 hours. We didn't really die. There was like one sequence where I died like twice. I was like, the controls for a certain aspect of the game are not great.
That's one of my biggest complaints.
Which is when you have to line something up to this target, the toggle for it goes way too fast or way too slow. So like it'll go slow, and you're like, okay, well I'm going to push more, and it'll go like all the way over here, and it's just it's not great controls in that one aspect. A couple of anytime I have to move the cursor, it feels like it's either way too slow or way too fast. Yeah, where it's either like not responsive enough or way too responsive. Yeah. And Batman walks slow. Those are my two criticisms of this game. Batman walks so slow.
At least the gameplay.
Yeah.
Because you can break down the story and complain about some stuff, certainly, but... yeah, so let's, I
recommend playing this with somebody else. Like I bet you most people play this by themselves. It is fun to kind of figure out what you're going to do. You should do what we did, which is we outlined certain goals.
That's what I wanted to get into. Let's talk about how we played the game and what playing this game is like.
So we decided very quickly, very early on, certain things that we were going to do. So
sometimes late enough that it was harder to accomplish them because we weren't sure if we should make plans with certain characters. We didn't even think about it.
We
yet.
never figured out what we were doing with Gordon, other than we wanted him to be as little involved as possible.
Initially, we were trying to get him as in the background as we could, which is kind of difficult to do. But
so we decided we were 100% for Harvey Dent. We were going to be the best friends of Harvey Dent,
and we're going to make sure he doesn't turn into Two-Face,
which we did.
We succeeded at, and found out that a lot of people don't get that ending, or that for his character arc.
Yeah.
That was cool. I didn't even know you could do that.
We were going to
sleep with Catwoman.
Sleep with Catwoman was our goal, and we accomplished that.
Yes, slept with Catwoman.
Although the way
we really thought that was going to get more explicit than we did. We
just kept going.
This is very rated R.
This is very rated R,
and not horribly gratuitous.
There's no F-bombs.
There are places where I think the violence goes a little farther than it needs to, where it's just so disturbing. But it's not like some of the direct-to-video animated movies where you're like, well, this is just kind of a kid's thing that you threw some profanity in into people drinking beers. It's a beer drink. We'll get to that.
Yeah.
But you know, but like it is an adult story, isn't it?
Yeah. I forgot to mention there's an F-bomb in that. There
was an F-bomb in the
that.
original '89 first draft script that we reviewed on Rita book/script. But what else were we trying to do? We were super Falcone.
We were super anti-Falcone, and that succeeded.
Yeah.
And then we got to our first encounter with Penguin.
That wasn't as impressive. I think he must die every time. There's no way to
but same thing was with Catwoman. I feel like no matter what you do, you will end up in that situation.
Ooh, I don't know about that.
Really?
Well, maybe, yeah.
I have no idea.
Maybe not.
I'm not.
I don't know how that conversation at the end would play if you didn't sleep with her. So yeah.
But I mean, you would get to the situation where you get to make the choice between sleeping with her and not sleeping with her. That's what I mean. Is you would still get to that point. Like we didn't have to be nice to Catwoman the whole time, and we didn't have to.
No, but I thought we initiated it in such a way where she was interested enough in us to actually do that. I figured if we hadn't led up to that, right? And there are probably people who know this. I have intentionally not looked at, because there's a laundry list that you can get online and on the wiki
of all the different ways you can go.
This is like if you do this, this happens. If you do this, this happens. I don't want to look at that because I want to play it through once or twice more and be surprised.
But I feel like that has to happen to Harvey.
I'm intentionally ignorant so I can enjoy this again.
I feel like that has to happen to Harvey, but maybe if you're married to her, you end up crashing there, but you don't even get the option.
Yeah, because she's like, I'm going to sleep on your couch.
Yeah.
But then again, it seems like that's a little bit too complicated. It's limited in how it can possibly still tell a story and have some of the cutscenes it has, and you have very much to do with what the story does. There are limitations to that, of course, but like I said, there's that conversation toward the end when they're outside, kind of the last big conversation you have with her. That I don't know how that plays if you didn't sleep with her.
Yeah. So. And then our last one was when we met Penguin, we weren't really sure what to expect, and we screwed it up really bad, and he really hated us, so we just ran with that. I got to punch him twice in the face, and that was
the
enjoyable.
Best. Oh, can we talk about that scene real quick?
Yeah.
So he's really wanting to punch me. Is this after?
This is right when he takes over Wayne Industries.
That's what I was going to ask. And I think it's interesting that that you have Mayor Harvey Dent and you have Penguin not doing mayor things,
but he does take control of the Batmobile.
Does he actually take control of the Batmobile?
For like 6 seconds.
Control of our tech? Yeah, I was disappointed that there wasn't more of that.
Yeah.
But yeah, we do have a Penguin that tries to take over the Batmobile in this, and I'm just like, every Penguin thing! We have to do that with Penguin. He has to take over the Batmobile. I was so excited about it, and I didn't even think of it. As soon as Oswald Cobblepot starts to take over your tech and we know it's him, Eric just looks at me and goes, you know what this means? No, Eric, what does this mean? Penguin's going to take over the Batman. Oh my God, you're right! It was
all
great.
It does is kind of make you swerve while you're driving.
It was quite a moment. But anyway, so we're in this bit where, I mean, like, don't you care so much about what's happening more because you're in control, and because you're not in control of multiple characters, that it's all just Bruce Wayne. And that's true of some of these other games too, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Anyway, we have the scene where Penguin is taunting us, and we're trying to decide if we're gonna do like the smart thing or the impulsive thing, and Eric's like, I just want to punch him, and we were waiting for punch him, and then finally he gets it. He was like, oh my God, it's letting me, and he's like, punch him, and he punches him, and then, kid you not, verbatim, punch him again. And he's like, yeah,
I punched him.
That was so much fun. The other thing we tried to do was be Joker's friend.
Yes, we wanted to be Joker's best friend, and we mostly succeeded at that, I think.
I love this Joker.
I love this Joker. He's so good.
He's funny. And you don't get funny Jokers enough these days. He's very funny.
When they made us walk around the room trying the key, and then you go to him, he's like, that's not for that.
Classic.
Yeah, that was great.
So good, and we tried everything. We were so dumb.
Yeah. You're like, no, we can't use it on the door. We're gonna try and escape.
Yeah, I was like, they're gonna come after us, and then it was like, well, no, well, yeah, but if you try to use it on that case thing, there, like somebody's gonna see you, and that's gonna be bad, and yeah.
Yep. No, it's a really fascinating.
Oh, that was a cool way to get a couple more villains in there that weren't major villains, like Wesker's there.
And Ventriloquist.
Yeah, that's Ventriloquist.
Oh, sorry. You said Wesker. I was.
That's who that is. Arnold Wesker.
I was thinking Zaz.
Yeah, we always do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, Victor Zaz and Arnold Wesker.
And
his upside down sock face.
Yes. Yeah. And I'm sure that Joker must be more prominently featured in the next one, not just because they kind of teased at the end, but the cover is Batman on a gargoyle with a Joker face.
Oh, okay.
So I'm sure there'll be much.
You know
more
what though?
Joker.
It was really tastefully done, right? Like the way he's
it
integrated
didn't feel
in the
intrusive
story.
or
no, and he's not shoehorned in. Like the way he the role he serves is really good.
Yeah, no, and he's so well written. It's one of the best Jokers I've seen in a while. It's a really unique take on him while also being like really classic. Your Joker's great.
There's a whole lot of like story analysis and stuff we could do on this game. I'd like to do that at some point after I have another chance.
This is a game you could do a rewind on.
Yeah, and somebody asked me if I would be willing to do that. And after I played a couple chapters, I said absolutely. I would love to have the challenge of reviewing something that is interactive in that way. Where I mean, like, yeah, I've done the Arkham games, but they all turn out the same way.
It's the same story.
If I review this, I'm gonna do double duty. I'm gonna review it twice. It's the only way to do it. Is you say like here because I think the interesting thing to do would be to talk about the nuances and how it changes your perceptions of a story and how you feel about characters. So the Harvey Dent that becomes Two-Face versus the one that doesn't, or certain things that happen with Catwoman, certain things that happen with Cobblepot, would change my opinion on the choices the writer made in telling the story. Usually, when you're writing about story, you're writing about somebody's vision. You know, you're writing about what they've decided is going to happen to these characters, and they're plotting it, and they're writing that characters, and they're inserting theme and stuff. But with something like this, they've done that a number of times in different directions. You know, like it would be like reviewing a Choose Your Own Adventure book, which sounds like a really stupid idea. You could only review it one way and then maybe another way or two. And I just think that would be really interesting because I feel like it'd be cool to just do it like keeping in mind the fact that it can change, but also just review it as a story. Like if this was the way it was presented, if what I got was the way it was presented, does that make for a good story?
I think for ours, yes, until the last episode, where there's a couple of things where the conversation with Selena was like kind of bad writing, but that was kind of our fault because we picked maybe not the best choices, where we're like, well, that's not the best, but that's kind of on us.
One thing I was really surprised by was how often a choice I would have thought was contrary to what we just did earlier in a scene ended up somehow fitting perfectly. There's some really good writing that way where it's keeping up with everything that someone might have said, and having Bruce Wayne respond in such a way that seems to almost always track. It's very surprising. Yeah. You can't make it crazy. I mean, we didn't try that hard, and
our Batman was a very traditional Batman, as nonviolent as I think we possibly could have been.
Weren't we? Wasn't it cool that we were invested enough where there were places where we wanted to do a crazy thing, but we just couldn't bring ourselves to?
Yeah,
we cared too much about our protagonist.
Yeah.
Isn't that interesting?
The two big
and
ones,
we had some control over him.
The two big ones that
I didn't feel like Batman. I felt like I was helping Batman, and I didn't want to let him down.
Yeah, exactly. The two big ways I want to play through this.
In that way, sorry, I felt like a writer.
Yes. Yeah, you're helping making choices and crafting the story. We want to do Crazy Batman. We also want to do Batman who never talks.
Yeah, I want to do one
because
where
that's always an option. Is to not talk. I want to do that for every single
silent treatment Batman.
I want to see what the game looks like if you do that. It's probably boring.
It probably is, but I'd love to see it. I wish we had recorded our playthrough, because we're having so much fun with it, and there were a lot of things that we were
Batman
making fun of.
Senses.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, it's not a bad game. I'm not making fun of it because it's bad. I'm making fun of things because of sometimes choices I'm making, and because like some things are just inherently funny in video games. You know what I mean? And you can length things up in really funny ways, and we had a lot of fun with. One of my favorite things in this game is setting up the multiple hits.
Yeah.
where you're gonna hit a bunch of guys in a row, and I gotta hit someone with modern art, and I was like, yeah, take that, modern art. I hate modern art. That was so much fun.
Yeah.
And we would have hilarious arguments like no, don't use Catwoman to take that guy out. You're supposed to hit him with the into the window or whatever. Or you're supposed to hit him with a light.
Yeah. And it was again. It was really fun with both of us doing it.
Yeah.
Where we would kind of get to have
compliment
a
each other on
conversation.
our swiping abilities.
I wish there was like a party mode setting where you have a little bit more time to make the choices.
Me too, and I did suggest that you could pause it.
Yeah, but we didn't think of that until we were almost done with the game.
Yeah. And I do think that it would be nice if it gave you another 4 or 5 seconds.
Yeah.
But then also it might drag the pacing a little bit.
Well, and that was the thing I didn't like either was sometimes I would think one decision was the right decision because they're still talking while they give you the option to respond. And then they'd have like, the person would have like another sentence and I was like, oh wait, that changes what I want to say.
And there were times where what you picked wasn't close enough to what you thought you were picking.
Yeah.
Because it's not verbatim. Not always. Sometimes it is, but almost always Bruce will...
He's paraphrasing.
Yeah, or it's really misleading.
Which is what happened with our first encounter with Penguin. Was we kept thinking we were about to say something and it came out differently than how we thought it was going to. We're like, oh, well, I guess we're just being a jerk to Penguin.
And there were places where I couldn't tell how consequential the choices were going to be, like the mistake I made, but I guess it ended up being one of the big reasons we didn't end up turning Harvey Dent into Two-Face, where we're supposed to go, it's that Dark Knight thing of, are you going to go save Harvey, or are you going to go save somebody else? And we went after Selina, which is actually really interesting because they were dating.
It wasn't Selina, it was...
was it not Selina?
It was Vicky.
That's right, but before
because that was the first time you suspected there was something up with Vicky.
Yeah, I actually called that she was involved, but not that she was the big bad. And we'll talk some story stuff here in a minute, but I thought that was inspired.
That was great.
That was excellent.
It felt like such a bigger twist because we were involved. It felt like we were dumb. We didn't pick up on it.
Yeah, it was really cool. But yeah, so I pick Batman going after Vicky instead of Harvey because I didn't realize that
you weren't going to get to do both.
We were going to get to do both. I didn't know we were actually going there, and because of the way it was set up, where it gives you 2 options, but it gives you 2 options within each option, where there's like investigating a thing and then going there. But I didn't realize we were going there.
No, it was like listen and investigate.
Is that what it was?
Yeah, I think it was listen.
And I didn't know investigate meant go there. That was the problem.
Yeah, and so we didn't even look at the other one, but it ended up. I think we got
was fortuitous for us ultimately.
A slightly better Harvey. Because I think if we went there, it was because we were looking at Harvey to see when Harvey turned into Two-Face.
Was that the episode where I felt like every decision I made was horrible?
Yeah, that was the episode where everything
I kept going. Just take the controller. I'm done. I'm not playing anymore.
You were saying mean things to Harvey. You were saying mean things to Harvey.
I was ruining our relationship with Harvey Dent. And I forget what else, but there were a number of things.
And that woman who was going to go to bat for us to stay in control of Wayne and his enterprises, you were really mean to her.
And then once I screwed up that whole thing, I was like, screw it. We hate this woman, and we're going to do
and we just committed to being mean to that woman.
And just all the horrible things we said into the microphone when they thought that we were going to just peacefully turn Wayne Enterprises over. That was fun and cathartic.
Yep.
Boy, it's such a wonderful experience. Like,
yeah.
I had this feeling where I was like, I don't know, I would be okay with just the video games I play being this kind of thing for a while.
And I immediately want to try some other Telltale games.
For people. This is Tilapia. This is video games for people who don't like to play video games.
Yeah,
and don't you want to have a party? Don't you want to get people over and crowd them around?
I want to play the Borderlands one because I think the Borderlands is an interesting setting from seeing my friends play it. I'm like, oh, there's a Borderlands game for me.
Borderlands has one of these. That makes me want to see this put in other video game universes.
Yeah. And Minecraft has one as well.
That's interesting.
Which I can't even imagine what the Minecraft one would be.
That?
They're on season 2. But I was going to... No, it's such a different kind of way of doing a video game that feels like fresh. Like, if someone told me this isn't a video game, I would not disagree with them. It really is like an interactive comic, like a choose-your-own-adventure book.
Yeah, and there are bits of it that feel kind of token and shoehorned in, where it's like I'm not totally sure that the actions I'm doing in the action scenes are actually affecting anything, because there are certain places where if you don't do anything, you die, or if you don't line something up, you die.
But sometimes we thought we missed ones and nothing.
That's where I was going with that. But before I said that, I was going to say there are also places where you wouldn't think it would actually affect anything, and then it really does go in a different direction. But then there are places where it acts like you need to line something up, but then Batman actually misses a bullet anyway, and I'm like, okay, what was the point of that?
Mm-hmm.
And that opening action sequence is like that, but also it might be like that just to get you used to QuickTime events. I don't know.
The thing, I also think sometimes they're not clear enough about when those are going to start. Well, like, it'll be like a 3-minute sequence, and then it has you do something. I was like, wait, I wasn't ready, because I was watching this movie. I think it's amazing how much fun we were able to have with this game, as dark as this game is.
Yeah, as invested as I was in the story, and some of that was because I hesitate to say, oh boy, plot twist, but like usually they seemed organic and I bought them. This is so good at cliffhangers. It's just actually, it keeps me engaged all the time.
We always wanted to play another episode.
Every single cliffhanger, I'm like, well, oh boy, like the stuff's at the fan now. You know?
Yeah.
The reveal that Thomas Wayne ran all the crime in Gotham is just amazing.
Yeah,
it's excellent. Yep. And what other big reveals were there?
Well, there's the Vicky Vale one. Vicky Vale's in charge of everything.
Yeah. And that you've actually been fighting her, because we had that wonderful action sequence when you don't even know you're fighting her, when you're fighting the big unnamed bad guy that turns out to be Lady Gotham.
Which is the biggest question I have, is how she's able to fight like that.
I don't know. I don't know what her background is. She would have to be League of Assassins or something. She's way too good.
Well, when we lost Logan and Enterprises completely, and then we were on the drug.
Yes.
We went out. We made our speech. Like, get out of here. And then that it's the same reveal. They reveal it's Vicky, and then she injects you.
She injects you.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh no.
You're like, oh no. And they gives you options, but like you're a crazy monster person. It was great. And I think Falcone being shot was
one of them.
I think so.
At the beginning, no, I thought it was a big reveal. There was some bigger reveal at the beginning, but I can't remember what it is now. It's all kind of running together at this point.
I can't.
But
I know Falcone getting shot is in the second one, but I can't remember if it's the end of the second episode.
Oh yeah, that's right. No, I know.
Because the first episode ends with you finding out that your dad is in fact.
And you know what? I gotta be honest with you. I kept expecting that to not be true, or it to be like less scary than it sounds.
By the time episode 2 was done, I no longer had that.
So yeah.
It was like, oh no, this is where we're taking this universe.
Yeah, and I really like that. It's taking that thing from Long Halloween and going all the way with it, where it's like he was in some way involved with Falcone, and in that it's just almost innocuous. In this, like, he's a crime boss, and I like the line, like, how do you think he got that rich?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And we made that work before, where he's not a bad person and he got rich, where you have like, the 4 families of Gotham or whatever. But I thought it was a good take. Now I have questions about it. I hope moving forward that we keep dealing with what a Batman whose parents weren't good people is like, because I feel like it would alter his motivations to some degree, or it would,
because it's no longer a tragedy,
or it would have the potential to, like he wants to make sure. Batman usually wants to make sure that what happened to his parents doesn't happen to anybody else, but his parents were bad people, and isn't it interesting that, or at least his dad was. I guess we know much about his mom.
We know his mom was trying to get him out of it, I think.
That's right, yeah, but at least his dad was a bad person. I mean, like that ends up playing, I imagine it'll play really interestingly into the age-old should Batman kill his villains question, where it's like, well, the city is better because my dad's dead. But my dad dying is the reason I'm doing this now, so it's paradoxical. That's really, really interesting. But I have this big question. I don't know if Alfred should be as likable as he's played then.
Yeah, because he kept it a secret the whole time.
He worked for them,
yeah,
and he would have been complicit in some way.
Well, he said he was about to leave, and then they died.
Okay, but that's a little easy. Like, how long was he there with them? Did he just find out? Did he never know about it? I want to know more about that. Or maybe we talked over it. The problem is we were playing it together, and we only played it one time, so it's possible there are things I missed that would become, clear if I played it again, which I want to do. But Alfred... But it would be really nice if I had a sense of, like what if Alfred thought Batman was the person, or Batman's parents were the person Batman thought they were?
Yeah.
You almost have to have that with him. I like his design a lot.
Yeah, me too. I just wish he had a mustache. My big question, and I'm assuming people in the comments are going to tell us how dumb we are because we've never played a Telltale game, and they probably have the answers.
Yeah, sure.
Up until the very end, people kept doing they will remember that thing. Will the choices we made in this game track into the sequel?
Yeah, because there are things that all the way up until the end is like, they'll remember that. The game's almost over. Why does it matter if they'll remember?
Yeah, who cares if Gordon remembers that we showed up as Batman?
Did you think that, or were you able to pick up enough on places where a place where it says that impacted the story later.
Yeah,
I feel like there were a few places where it was like, oh yeah, if we hadn't done this, then this person wouldn't have made this choice. And it feels like real actions and consequences.
Mm-hmm. I also really liked at the end of every episode you get to see the choices that, like, the percentages of the choices that people made.
I wish there were more of them.
Me too.
That was cool.
But it was really interesting because for the first, like, 2 or 3 episodes, while we didn't always make the like most popular choice, because everyone saved Selena, not Harvey. Like, that was the thing that we made that was really unpopular. But it was always majoritively something, and then you get to the last 2 episodes, and it's like 50-50 for like every decision.
Well, it's funny because there were places where I was like, okay, it seems like that 12% must have been women.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, that's the choice that I feel like...
Because it's like 6% chose not to sleep with Catwoman.
Yeah, and I thought it was really funny. It was like, how many of those were men? I mean, really? Really, how many of those people were men? I don't know.
It's all people doing a second playthrough to see how it's different if you don't sleep with her.
Such a fresh new reimagining. This could have been Earth 1.
Yeah, this could have been Earth 1.
And like, it's really cool because you can get away with a lot of this stuff because it's, I mean, I want to say out of continuity, but like not even, I don't know, I guess a video game continuity can do anything it wants to, but it's really cool, like, just how far off the beaten path it allows itself to go, but is still very Batman.
Yeah. Well, it's also a phenomenal case for a modern-day Batman that is still a detective and isn't the Scott Snyder, I'm relying entirely on
gadgets. Yeah, because his tech is really futuristic, and yet he seems to be still the world's greatest detective. It's a really good detective game.
Yeah.
And it's better at that even than the Arkham games, which do okay with it, but I think this is really, really good in that.
It made a really legitimate case for, like, no, you can stop Batman in the modern day, because
it made me feel
not
smart.
been sure about that. Yeah.
Because there were places where I was like, I figured that out before Batman did.
I kept
talk about the funniest one?
Talk about the one where Batman's an idiot.
Okay, so, and it's sad because it's the most chilling scene, and then I'm laughing so hard.
Yeah. Oh, man.
So, Vicky is a sympathetic antagonist. Now, by the end of the game, she gets a little too speechy and she's going too far, and she has that whole thing. I guess I'll mention this real quick. Like, help me re-piece this together. She has that weird bit where she's like, oh, I know what it is, where she's like, wait a minute, Bruce Wayne, you can't be Batman because Batman is doing good things for the city and he cares about someone other than himself. But then she's like, oh well, but never mind. You're a horrible person anyway, and she has in the moment like way too quick of a switch.
We revealed ourselves to Vicky, which is a choice. You can reveal it to yourself to Vicky, and she starts like that, and then she's immediately like, oh wait, of course you do, because you get to go around beating people up.
That's what it is. And I was like, wait a minute, that doesn't inform who you thought Batman was. I didn't like that whole bit. But anyway, Vicky is a sympathetic antagonist because she had the worst childhood imaginable, and she has reason to blame Bruce's parents for it. This also does something along Halloween, tries to do much better than it, which is the sins of the father idea. Where we even bring up, in a good number of places, well, Bruce isn't responsible for this, it's his parents. Yeah, but you're the next best thing. And people do this.
Yeah,
Where it's a bloodline thing.
It's very Shakespearean.
Yeah, great point. So I liked that. I bought her motivations. I bought a lot of what she was doing until the very end. But we go to her childhood home where she's kidnapped Alfred, and they're gone now. But she put him in this horrible room in the cellar or the basement or something where she used to get put, and she's got these drawings everywhere.
And there are bloody belts on the wall from where they beat her.
It's horrifying still thinking about it. But then Batman's piecing everything together, and we had it all figured out about 10 minutes before Batman did. And it's not because we were taking too long to play. Like, seriously, he just
kept talking,
piecing it together, and it's like, and there was a point where I thought he was finished. And it was going to pull back out, and we were going to go on to the next part, but he was still explaining things like Mojo Jojo, where it's like, so Alfred is in Arkham, and he's trying to communicate that's where he's going. Now, honestly, I don't know how he would know where they're going. That is a question I have.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah, I'm not sure up top.
Unless
they kept saying that they're going to Arkham
in front of him for some reason, or he could piece it together somehow. But anyway, so he's using the child's drawings and adding to them, and Batman starts getting hilarious. And there are a couple places where we're sort of laughing at how long it takes him to get to something. Oh, I like the part. I like the part earlier with the pool cue where Alfred's like fighting. By the way, this Alfred is like a martial arts genius. Apparently,
yeah.
We don't get to see him do anything, but we piece together what he did. But we get to see him do it in like blue ghosty form.
Yeah, yeah.
But there's a pool cue that's like up in the rafters, and he's like, "How the hell?" And that was really funny. And then we find out how the hell.
But that's the most simple explanation, which is someone threw it.
Yeah. But anyway. So sorry, they're in this cellar or wherever she got thrown in by her horrible, scary parents.
Yeah.
The Vales are the worst people ever, and he's drawn himself, and somehow Batman can tell for sure that's who it is.
What's really weird is there's a drawing she already did of herself, and he drew himself with her holding her hand, but tiny like a child.
and then he wrote to Arkham.
Yeah, and Batman's like,
and so like obviously they're in Arkham, and I would have expected he would just pull out and he would go there, but he's like, to Arkham. They must be going to Arkham.
No, it's worse than that. Because it's to Arkham, and he's like, to Arkham. And then he looks over at the other picture, and he's like, that's Alfred. They're taking Alfred somewhere. To Arkham. They're taking Alfred to Arkham.
It was the best.
To Arkham is where they're taking Alfred.
And we just could not stop laughing at that. And again, it was really sad because that was the scariest place, and I didn't want to be there, and I was ready to get up and leave the kitchen because we play video games in my kitchen. That's where the video games are. They're in the kitchen. I also have a game room down here, but the modern games in the kitchen game room.
Like everyone,
right? Yeah, it's normal. But anyway, that was hysterical. But you know what? I loved it for stuff like that. Is the thing like,
it made it more enjoyable to play together.
Yeah, like
if we were sitting by ourselves, that might be really dumb. But because we were giggling,
this is technically a criticism. I don't care. Like I like the things that don't work in this game.
Because it's hilarious.
Now story-wise, when I actually look at it as a narrative, I'm going to have some issues. But like just playing, I had so much fun with it. And again, being seriously invested was part of the fun of it.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, there would be turns where we're like, oh my god, like I can't believe that just happened. What are we gonna do?
This take on Cobblepot was really interesting. I like seeing Batman's dad creating a lot of the evils of Arkham or of Gotham, and then Batman doing a lot of the same things despite himself. Where it's that classic like trying not to become his dad's story, but it's so interesting. Because again he becomes Batman because that guy dies. I just think that's fascinating. If
I have one criticism of like some of the reinvention, there is no reason for him to be Penguin.
I feel like there was some token thing, and I can't remember what it was.
Okay, I like that his gas mask looks like a penguin. That's fun, but I felt like they just called him the Penguin.
Yeah, and he's like tall and lanky and a very different kind of looking penguin.
And there was a point where we thought he was going to have a limp, but he didn't.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, I forgot.
I mean, that's the last time we see him.
Something hit him, and maybe that's what it is. They were setting that up. I don't think they threw too many villains in this. I don't think the scope of it's too big.
No, it totally works. It feels like an epic Batman TV show. We were talking somewhere. Was it in After Dark or was it in Omnibus? We were talking about the Batman
beer drink. We did talk about beer drink, but we were talking about what?
No, we were talking about like the adult adaptation of Batman and how it's still to happen.
Yeah, this is it.
Show. This is what I want on Netflix or on. This is the animated series of Batman that I've been waiting for that they will not give us.
But
this is what should be on.
I'm also enjoying an interactive like
absolutely. But I mean, this is the kind of thing I want.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
As an animated series. No, it's so much fun.
I mean, I don't want to say this is as legitimate as that as a story, only in that you can't have conversations with people and fully dissect it all in the same way because it keeps changing. You know what I mean? It's not one
Which
narrative,
makes it really
it's a number of narratives. But that's also really interesting. This kind of thing, I know we've talked about this, and Vince and I have talked about this 2 years ago. Like I've had this evolution of like do video games work as a narrative art form, and this absolutely is that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really, and I'm a little worried that we will replay it and it won't be that different.
That's my worry too, but I'll still like it. I'll be disappointed that it won't have a lot of replay value, but I'll still like what I liked about it.
I'm also worried that if we replay it, it will reset. And so if this stuff carries into the second game, that we'll then have to contend with playing Jerk Batman and going into the next game.
Yeah, because it doesn't look like you can start like a second profile or something.
Yeah, so I'm a little worried about that.
Maybe you can, and I haven't figured out how to do it yet. But anyway, let me ask you this last question. You were concerned that by the end of the game, with everything that goes wrong for Bruce Wayne, and especially what happens to his reputation, he can't come back from it. Do you buy at the end that he's able to continue on? I question it.
I think they're going to need to still deal with that in the sequel for me to be completely satisfied.
And I know at least a chapter or two of that is out already, and we haven't started it yet.
But we really want to. We're really excited to get to...
If I don't get that for Christmas, I'm going to buy it right after. And I don't know if we'll record ourselves playing that first time through, but we're definitely going to do, if we can find the time, another playthrough of this and record it.
That should be Jerk Batman.
Oh, we should do Psychotic Jerk Batman. It would be so much fun. And then we can point out things like beer drink. And
yeah.
That bar scene is delightful.
They go to a bar and there's a big neon sign that just says beer drink.
And somebody has a T-shirt. It's all over the place. It's their Budweiser. Like, it's hilarious. I really want a beer drink T-shirt.
Me too.
That's the next thing I'm going to have to try to get Danny to make for us. Is the beer drink. Yeah, we should get a screenshot of it. And, this was delightful and horrifying and hilarious, and all these things work fine together. For an experience. I didn't expect to have so much fun with this. I thought I might enjoy it, but it's weirdly, it doesn't feel like you're playing a video game in some ways, but at the same time, it's the sort of fun that I go to video games for. Fascinating.
My favorite thing that we laughed at, I think maybe, that wasn't one of our jokes, like Batman Patient People Sentences, was there was a point where you have to do this detective work thing where you have to, there's like a couple of things at the crime scene, you have to link them. And I hadn't explored the room enough, but I didn't realize I could explore the rest of the room, and I was like, okay, these are the only two things here to connect, and I connected them, and Batman just goes, no.
No, that was me. I made that mistake.
Oh, did you make that mistake?
You remember that?
Okay.
Because you were like, that's not going to work, and then he goes, no, and you're like, see, I told you.
I didn't remember.
It was my first time doing the link thing. You're like, you are a horrible detective. Captain Logan is not a detective. That's it for D-Pad. We adored this.
Yeah, it was great.
This is wonderful.
Yep.
And once again, thanks, Malik, for sending this to us. We're going to get to the second one as soon as humanly possible, and that one I will be so excited to play episode. Something else we should have mentioned.
Yeah, I was actually going to, I think we'll say the same thing.
Go ahead.
That we played this all together, but this would... I'm excited to play this episode and get left on a cliffhanger
and have to wait
because it feels like a televised, it feels like a legitimate cliffhanger you have to wait for.
I do wish they would wait to put the disc out until it was all done and put it all on the disc. I don't love that, but I wish I had started playing it when it first came out. I was like, I don't want to wait episode to episode. This is not a game you play all the way through in one sitting, and it would take half a day to do.
And also.
But it's so good of it. It's a great serialized experience.
I don't like that playing it all together. You still have to sit through a recap every time. That makes way more sense if you're playing as they come out.
You wouldn't mind it if it was every month or two.
Yeah, exactly.
It would be like comics, where it's fun. It's fun to see what happens next.
Yeah. So we want to try and start playing that one as it drops.
Yeah. So we'll catch up to wherever it is.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's that, and that I don't know. This is definitely one of my favorite things we talked about on the Omnibus this week.